Welcome to another segment of the Urban Wall Street Project. This is a very special segment for all my ladies out there, my full-figure beautiful woman. You know you're never forgotten in urban America. We're standing in the fashion showroom of JustRaymmona, Envy, New York. It's a beautiful situation. You're going to talk to JustRaymmona. You're going to see her at work. You're going to see her doing her thing, how she does it, how long she's been doing it, the passion behind it, the dreams and visions and plans she has for her fashion line. So my sisters out there, get yourselves ready because she has some dynamic pieces, and you're definitely going to have them on. So you stay tuned. You're here at Urban Wall Street. Let's go. Alright, so like I told you, my sisters, my people out there, we're in the fashion showroom of JustRaymmona, Envy, New York. I'm standing here with the founder and CEO, Miss JustRaymmona herself, and she's going to let you know the beautiful things about what she does here. You're going to see some clips, some of the garments, and you're going to learn about the passion she has and how prepared you need to be. A lot of people want to be in the fashion industry. It's a tough arena. You got to really prepare yourself. You're going to see her working with a young intern, preparing that next generation to take over and do the thing. So you know what it is, but without further ado, it's JustRaymmona. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. And this is a pleasure, actually, and I thank you guys for being here. This is Envy, New York, and this is the beginning of it. It's been tough, but I love what I do. Mm-hmm. And the full-figured arena is actually what brought that love back. Because I started doing patterns and samples for other designers, and just kind of got worn down with that, and then found Miss Sharon Quinn and started doing wardrobing for her for Monique's Fat Chance, and that was the beginning of it all.
So now that was the beginning of it all now. But you know, before anything, I tell my young viewers, before anything is manifested, the biggest thing is always an idea first. So if you can, take me back. When did you first realize that fashion, this is what you wanted to do?
I've always been in fashion since 15. I started with Wilhelmina. I actually started on the modeling arena, then went to school for business. That's what my degree is, in the business side of things. And in Europe, I started with Wilhelmina for 5 years and came here to New York thinking I would use my business degree. I started running Deborah Moses, and then for 2 years after doing that, Fahrenheit, New York, which is also a women's accessory and clothing company. But I was more the production. Hiring, firing, shipping, everything actually, which was great. That's what my degree was in, and that's what I thought I was going to be doing. And left there, and I needed a job.
Right, okay.
And believe it or not, I didn't plan on going into business, but 15 years ago, I did one wedding for a friend, and when I wasn't working at that time, and someone saw that, and I ended up doing the bridal scene, and that's actually what started me in the business, doing the bridal, making the patterns and samples for individual brides, doing custom, and then I started doing patterns and samples for Calvin Klein, Vera Wang. I've done quite a bit of patterns and samples for quite a few in the industry, and the past 6 to 7 years, it's been more up-and-coming designers, and that's where the fun was, actually taking their concepts and their sketches and making them come to life. And so it was good. It's quite rewarding, and all of that actually has brought me to this point, because this is all full circle. My first client actually 15, 16 years ago was a full-figured woman. Her wedding, Monica was a size 22.
Wow, okay.
And so I've done the gambit with the size 4s, and yes, I'm a size 4, but but I've done that gambit, and it's not as enjoyable, because the whole concept behind Envy is I'm taking clothing that normally the size 4, that size 6, that size 8 wear, and I'm reconstructing them and making them so that the average woman that's a 14 to a 24 can wear it. So that's the whole idea behind the line itself. So it's fun. It's taking a lot of work, but it's fine.
Okay, so so I know you said it, but so doing full figured. I know a lot of times, women, seemingly it's hard for them to find the right clothing because seemingly everything is cut for, the slim, the ones, the twos,
Yeah.
the zeros. What is it in particular? Was there anything, any epiphany that you had, or that just made you decide, I want to make something, even though because you're a four, you're not a full figured, but I want to design something for, my sisters that are, a little bit more well endowed or physically endowed than I.
Okay, let's keep it real.
Yes, keep it real. We're talking to our people. Let them tell them the
See,
truth.
let's keep it
Tell
real
them the truth now.
It was actually, that's a two-part idea. As I said, my degree is in business.
Okay.
And business is about making some money.
This is very true.
But I did find that because of being a pattern maker, and I came from being a sample maker first to pattern making, so I've actually done the gambit. That designer, I kind of wear but take off because I actually like this part of it, dealing with the patterns, the actual construction and the fit. I found that what actually works for a fuller woman is the same thing that works for me.
Okay.
Because of being, it's all in about cut and construction. Take this dress, for instance. Almost everything is cut from princessing. Regardless of what size she is, the smallest point is here. And that's where almost everything derives from.
Okay.
And so being that, because this is a size 18, believe it or not. So, and it's striped. It's not black, because that myth of, only wearing black, it makes you look smaller. If you're a size 22, you still going to be a size 22 in that black dress.
Very true.
So it's the same deal. But the cut and the construction is actually what makes it.
Okay.
And the same way that this would work for me with the dart here to make me appear that I have more.
Okay.
It actually does the same thing for that full-figured woman because of the line being cut here and the dart, it actually lifts.
Okay.
And then with the lining, it's actually pulling so that she has a little bit more stability in the dress.
Gotcha.
And that's what's missing with most of the buying off the rack and most of the other, not to call any names, but most of the other full-figured clothing lines.
Right.
Those things are missing.
Okay.
And those are kind of important pieces to the puzzle, actually, to give you that style and that fit
Right.
that full-figure women need.
Okay.
The second part to that is it's a niche. There
Okay.
isn't anyone doing what we are developing here to do.
Excellent.
Because this took about 18 months to develop the concept and work on it, and we're still working on it, but God willing, in the next 2 weeks, it'll drop online.
Excellent.
So, it's good. Same thing with this dress.
Okay.
Princessing, which works for me, being so small because it lifts and makes me look like I have more. But for a full-figured woman, especially with the lining being stretched, it's a wonderful gift because with the straps, it's still bra-friendly, but it's giving support. And that's the whole thing behind everything with the line. Almost everything, even our pants, our shorts, our jeans, everything has Lycra. So it's comfortable.
Excellent.
And that's the whole thing. And it doesn't look like it has Lycra, but it gives you that nice fit and that form. And so that's what the whole line is all about.
Excellent, excellent. And just looking around, I see some amazing things, and I'm just fascinated. I'm always fascinated by fashion. I'm love clothes myself, and seeing certain shirts that if I were a full-figured woman, I would surely be definitely picking some up. But another thing I like to talk about with the Urban Wall Street Project is, the behind the scenes, because what you're getting, my people, you're inside of the showroom. A lot of times you see the fashion shows, you see the spreads in the magazines, but you don't see the process that leads up to the manifestation of a fashion show. So it's very important that you understand the making, the process that goes into bringing some fashionable clothes to you so you can wear them. Now, I want to ask a little bit behind the scenes. Being a fashionista, since you've been doing this for so long, I want to let the people know, because there's a lot of young ladies and men that want to come up and they want to do fashion. I know fashion is in my blood. This is what I do. Let's dispel some myths and misconceptions they might have. Talk about how tough you need to be, or some of the greater, being in the game as long as you've been in it. Some of the myths or misconceptions people may have about the fashion industry, as far as the behind-the-scenes designing.
Well, I think, in all honesty, there are very few myths now today.
Okay.
Because you learn quickly when you're in school. It's not about just coming out of high school and getting this wonderful job and being this big designer.
Exactly.
Well, a few years ago when I graduated, it was a little different. It was a little different because you had that dream that this is what it was going to be. But I think with the reality television now, you kind of see a lot of the ins and outs that go with it.
Right.
And like with my young intern here with Tawana, it's best to know, not necessarily perfect, but to know a little bit of everything with it. From construction to some of the pattern making. Not saying that you have to be a pattern maker, but to just concentrate on the sketching is not enough. Because you as the designer actually have to be able to tell that sample maker when it's off, when the lines are not correct, if they're not giving you the look that you want. And that, I guess, would be a myth years ago.
Okay.
Whereas, you know, as we were talking at one point with Project Runway and other shows like that, you kind of see it's a little bit more to it than that.
Definitely.
You know, because back in the day, that's all you kind of needed to get on 7th Avenue.
Right.
But especially if you're talking about doing your own thing or running your own company, you kind of have to know a little bit of everything.
Right.
Because, as I said, that's why I came into it with the pattern making and sample making. So I kind of learned from the mistakes of, which is a big thing when you're in the arts, to learn from other people's mistakes.
Yes.
And I kind of learned by working with other designers some of the pitfalls that they kind of fell into,
Right.
so that I'm not making those. Because the biggest thing is production, construction, and being able to give that client what they ask for. If you put it out there, you have to be able to own up to it and give them what they're asking for, and in a timely manner. And most of the time, I guess that would be a myth, or I think it wouldn't be so much a myth as much as it would be an ignorance of not knowing.
Okay.
You know, designing that garment,
misconception,
and
right.
that's it.
And
Designing that garment, making that sample is wonderful. But if you don't have the fabric to back it up, you can't get the fabric at a decent price, and especially here in the States, you lose. You lose everywhere around. And the biggest thing in this industry, which is kind of like with music and most of the arts, you put your name out there.
Right.
You can make that one mistake and everybody remembers it.
Oh, tell me about it. Tell me about
And
it.
it's hard to come back after that. And so I think the biggest thing to remember for most young or up-and-coming designers is to do educate yourself on that background part of it.
Okay.
You know, make sure that you've got a good production house that can do, because everybody thinks you can go to Turkey and get the jeans produced for $6, but they forget to tell you you have to do 2,000 pairs of those jeans to get them for $6. And so that's one of the biggest misconceptions, because we are handling everything here. Everything is being produced here in the States. It's a little bit more costly, but for me, and I guess because of being on the back end with construction and sample making, construction is very important, because we're not in this at Envy I'm not looking to become that trend.
Right.
What we are doing with Envy is building a wardrobe. You know, we have some color, but then we have some basic pieces that you can buy today. 6 months from now, you buy something else, they work.
Okay.
Because that's the whole thing. I'm looking to do this for the next 50 or 60 years, more or less. So construction and quality is very important to me, because the bottom line is that's really what's going to make it, you know.
So you're sitting, you're listening, you're learning some very important things: construction, quality, integrity of work. Of course, you don't want to just put your name on anything, because, like you said, you get one shot. You know, we had a major artist said it once upon a time: you get one chance, so you better lose yourself in that moment, because it's very hard to come back from that one error, regardless of how good or great your past products was. You're only as good as your last job, your last product. So if that last product falls apart, no one remembers the first 5 hits or the first 5 great pieces of garment that you've delivered. All they remember is that last one that was just, and they don't even know if they want to see you again. So that's very important. So I'm very happy you touched on that. Now I want to talk about, how important. I see you have an intern, and it's very important, because the Urban Wall Street is about lifting as we climb, maximizing that urban dollar, and sharing. And I do this so I can educate my young brothers and sisters coming up, the next generation, so they get the correct information and they don't get miseducated as we are all too often. So how important was it to you to, have an intern and be able to give of yourself and show someone else who maybe have the same aspirations as you did when you were her age to do the thing that she wants to do with her life?
Well, for me, God is good. Okay, because see, that's all I've had when it came to spending some nights here trying to get somebody's line together, which they could care less about my rent being paid, but I had to make sure it was paid. I have no money. Right. This is my way of giving back. Okay. I don't have a problem. Even when I was doing the fashion shows, I would always do the shows at the colleges for the kids. It wasn't a problem because that's my way of giving back. Because I have no money to give her, unfortunately. But sometimes what you learn, and especially from doing and that experience of doing, a book can't give you that, and especially in the arts, because there is no one concept.
Exactly.
So I think it's a little bit more informative and worth quite a bit more money than if I was handing her $500 for next semester, at FIT or Parsons. So, yeah, I don't have a problem at all opening the doors when it comes to that.
That's good, and that's very important. You understand? We talked about it. Sometimes, you do things because it's what you want. If you have a passion to do something, you're not concerned about the money that's involved because you know that your passion will yield what it is that you ultimately want to achieve. And it's very important you give back, and you see as a sister who has a clothing line and is going to do well because she has a niche and she is capitalizing and targeting a market that maybe is forgotten and with as far as the quality and dynamic that she wants to create for her consumer. But that's that non-payment. This is invaluable. This young woman has opportunity to be with an established designer and watch sketches, learn prints, and you'll see her at work at the board doing it, looking at the fabrics, knowing the different types of fabrics. You can't find that in a book. You may get it in a book, but if you don't take the time to read it, you're going to miss it. And if there's no one maybe to break down the language, you're going to miss it. Somebody can pay you a certain amount of money, but here's your money, and because I'm paying you, you figure it out, you learn it on your own. So you definitely remember, when someone takes the time to give you, time is your most precious commodity, it's most valued asset. Money is not more valuable than time. You see, you have to be very wise with your time, because if you're not very wise with your time, you will have no money. Money can be replaced. You cannot get time back. So it's very important to know that. It's very, very important to understand that and recognize time is your greatest commodity, okay? Don't be so caught up on that dollar. So now I see the table over here. You got a table and your intern's over here. And I want to look, because it's so many different things. I've never been in a showroom and I'm looking at sketches and, just tell our people like exactly what we're seeing right now. What is it that I'm seeing here as far as the sketching, the rulers here, the intern? What are you going over with her today?
We are in this business, and especially the fashion industry, it takes some money and I think, and it's so funny you say that word myth, because I guess that would be a myth.
Right.
With any business, it takes money to make money. That's very true. With this business, it takes a little bit more money. We have a correction, and sometimes from this sketch to the paper, which is our pattern here. That's what we're working on, correcting this pattern, because this is actually the beginning of it all. We did the first dress, which we just saw here. We just saw the dress here.
Excellent.
But there are some changes that need to be made. And the only way you can do that is sometimes actually to see the actual sample itself made, because one might say, well, why waste the money doing that? Do it in a cheaper fabric called a muslin. But sometimes it will still change from that muslin to the actual fabric. And so being that we've found the problems, we are correcting them now on the pattern. And now once this is perfected, we will cut another one and it should be on point. And then this goes from here, it goes to a grader.
I like it. See that terminology?
Yeah, it's some money.
That terminology, she's give you some words.
The grader, actually, because my sample size, our sample size here is a 16. 16, 18 is our sample size. What happens with that, we go from here at a 16, it goes to a grader. and he computerizes all of the components, and he increases them accordingly, so that it will become a 14, which means he'll decrease the specs on it, and then he will increase it from that 16 to an 18 or 20 or 22 or 24.
All right.
And then that comes back to me as a marker. I take this fabric, I take this to my production house, and the marker that he made. And when we get the orders for 5 size 18, 5 size 16, 2 size 14s, all they have to do is lay out the marker, cut, stitch, we ship.
Beautiful. Now I know you've had definitely the experience of having your clothing worn by a model who was recently showcased some of your a line or a piece of your line on I believe it was Monique's Fat Chance. Yes, let's talk a little bit about that. Maybe about 30 seconds. Tell me how that experience was, just having your line on being on display for the nation.
Well, I guess, it's a good thing for me, this trip, because last year I've been doing Sharon's clothing, Miss Sharon Quinn, about 2 years now. And yes, she's worn some of the pieces on Monique's Fat Chance. And this year is important to me because of the line.
Right.
Because we're dropping the line the first week of August, and Monique's Fat Chance, July 28th. So you will actually see some of the pieces from the line on Miss Quinn. So it's a good thing.
All right.
But I guess it's more or less actually just seeing the actual garments on someone.
Right.
Not so much as who it is or how it is, because I've kind of been at Gambit. When I started in the business years ago, I did a lot of video work. So, look him, I've done things for her through Misa. And, so I guess it's more or less just seeing whether it's a woman that's working 9 to 5 at the lawyer's office.
Right.
It would give me the same pleasure, I think, seeing the garments actually on her.
Just seeing your clothing, and that's what's more important, just seeing the accompaniment, seeing it on it. So as we get ready to wrap up, it's been an amazing experience for me, and seeing you do this. I want you to give one solid word of advice to those up-and-coming, aspiring designers and artists.
Okay, and this is going to sound just awful, but for me, coming from a realist standpoint, it's a wonderful thing to have that passion, but it comes with the drive. You have to have the drive and have to be willing to do the work. But more importantly, remember, you still have to pay the bills, because one of the biggest misconceptions is to feel that, okay, I'm going to throw everything into this, because remember that little adage, it takes money to make money.
Right.
We have to dream it first, but in order for it to come to fruition, you still kind of have to make it happen, and that takes still being able. I tell everyone, keep your day job.
Right.
If you're talking about starting a business, keep the day job for a little bit. God is good, and I've been blessed. So, because I didn't keep the day job, but the struggle is a little less if you got that day job just for a bit until the business gets rolling. So that would be the biggest thing that I would say to anyone thinking of starting their own business. Just for a while, just hold on to that day job, because you can put more into it, and more of you can go into it to give you more of a positive response if you got a roof over your head tomorrow.
No question. So you heard it, you've seen it. Hopefully you've got some good information. My sisters out there, you got some beautiful lines coming out, so get your pockets ready, because it's a serious. If I mean to put on a few more pounds myself, I might rock one of these outfits. But it's a beautiful thing. Keep the day job. It's about that balance. You want to make sure that your mind can be clear to create. You don't want to be stressing, how am I pay my rent? I got to get this on. I got to get this cut. Oh, my cable's about to get cut off. Stay focused. Keep the balance. Keep the day job. Keep your passion. Keep striving for what you want, and you will have it. I want to thank you, Miss JustRaymmona.
Thank you.
Envy, New York. If you don't know, you better ask somebody. You've been watching the Urban Wall Street Project. You know what we say as always. Stay positive, stay prosperous. Keep your head up. Until next time, we'll see you. Peace.
Thing that you asked it, because I didn't really figure out I wanted to be a journalist until I was one. So it's kind of an existential answer. But what happened was it was always interested in writing and in words, and I wanted to make my living using my powers of language. I always had a big vocabulary and that kind of stuff, and I was inquisitive, and I was curious about a lot of stuff, and first I thought I wanted to be a book editor, but that was too slow. I mean, you work on a book and it comes out 24 months later, so the payoff time is agonizing. So I didn't like that, and I was in that business for a while, and I really didn't enjoy it. For a while I thought I wanted to teach, but then I really wanted to have the satisfaction of seeing something happen on a 24-hour basis, and teaching is a wonderful profession, but I didn't think I had the patience. So it's a combination of curiosity about the world and what I would like to call a creative impatience. You've got to be eager to see your stuff in print or on the air now to do this business.